What's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Robert Fitzpatrick. I am a real estate agent in the DFW area here in Dallas, Texas. And today I'm going to be talking about getting pre-approved. Now, this is one video out of a series where I'm teaching first-time home buyers how to buy a home, and just a refresher course for those of you who have purchased a home and are thinking about going and getting another one. I know we don't buy homes too often. Well, most people don't. So this would be a great refresher for you. Before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think of the content. All right, let's go. So pre-approval. What is a pre-approval? So for those of you who are not aware of what a pre-approval is, in real estate, a pre-approval is pretty much what you get to show what your buying power is. This is, you provide your documentation to your bank or your lender, and then they give you a pre-approval that says, hey, you can get a $300,000 home. You're approved for that. And a pre-approval does a couple things, right? One, a pre-approval saves you time, because when you give that to your real estate agent, you know the exact properties you can go look at now. So if you have a pre-approval for $300,000, you shouldn't be looking at $500,000 properties. And I'm going to get into why you wouldn't want to go look at those properties when you're only pre-approved for $300,000. Outside of the fact that you can't get them, outside of the fact that you can't get them, there are other reasons why you don't want to go look at properties that are outside of your buying power, right? Because I'll give you a story. So when I first started real estate, I would get a bunch of calls where buyers would say, well, I just want to go look at that property. I just want to go look at that property. I don't want to get pre-approved. I just want to go look at that property, and if I like it, then I'll get pre-approved, right? And me, as a new real estate agent, I'm getting a call. Yeah, let's go look at that property, right? Let's go look at that property. And so I would do it. And I would say most of the time, I regretted it. Here's why I regretted going and showing buyers properties without them being pre-approved. Okay, one, it's a disservice to me, and it's a disservice to them. Here's why, okay? If you're a buyer and you are going and looking at properties and you're not pre-approved, it's a disservice to me and the seller, because the seller is expecting that I'm bringing people to that property who are qualified to purchase that property. They're leaving their homes, they're opening their homes up, and the expectation is I'm not bringing somebody in there to just look around. I'm bringing somebody in here who is a qualified buyer who is able to purchase this property if they want it, okay? So that's one side of it. But it's a disservice to me as well, because I have a family. I only have so much time in the day, but also I'm running a business. And so if I'm out showing you property and you're not pre-approved and you may not even be able to get this property, I'm taking time away from the clients who are serious, who want to actually buy, who don't just want to go look at properties. And look, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting to go look at a property or here and there. I still may do it from time to time if it's a client that I know and trust. But here's the thing. It's a disservice to me, because if I'm trying to actually help people with real estate and what I'm doing for you is just showing you this property and you have no intentions of buying it, you're not serious about buying it, or you don't even know what you can get, and then we're going and looking at this property, you know, I don't want to say it's a waste of time, but there's better ways to use that time if you are a serious buyer. And I've heard different sides of it. Like, I've heard other real estate agents say, well, the more time you waste on people, the more money you make, right? I've heard that saying. And I would generally agree with that, but what I will say is that if I'm showing you property and you're not pre-approved, typically what I see is that the real estate agent just doesn't know how to have the conversation, or is scared, so they don't bring it up, and now they're out showing property and property and property, and you don't even know what this person can afford. Because here's what happened in most of those situations. I would go to the property and the person wasn't pre-approved, and I'd be showing them the property, right? And I would phrase it like, well, you should be pre-approved, but I'll show you this one property, and you know, if you still want to work with me, then you need to get pre-approved, right? I would say something along those lines. But what ends up happening is we go to this property and they look at it and they want me to keep showing them other properties without getting pre-approved, and they keep kicking the can down the road. And then once they are pre-approved, we find out you off the mark, buddy. We was $200,000 off the mark. We was looking at $500,000 properties. You pre-approved for $300,000. And so there's only so many times that I can do that as a real estate agent before I say, hey, look, I'm going to need you to be pre-approved before I go show you these properties, because I have other people who are serious about buying. And if I'm taking time away from them, I need a good reason. And that good reason would be you're serious about buying. Here's another thing, right? Here's another thing that many buyers, they don't understand the significance of this until they're actually going through it. Here's this scenario that I've been through, okay? And why I do not show property without pre-approvals unless I already have a relationship with you and know you and have done business with you in the past. Okay, so when I would show property without a pre-approval, there were several times where I would have the conversation with the buyer. Hey, look, you're not pre-approved. We don't know what you can get. If we just start going and looking at properties, we may be wasting our time. So here's what happens, right? We look at the property, and they say, oh, I love it. Look, I can put the couch right there, and it has the perfect bedrooms. Oh, man, I love this property. This is my home. This is my home. We need this. We need this, okay? I need this property. And I say, okay, bet. Let's go get you pre-approved. And now they're all ready to go. Pre-approved. They're doing the pre-approved dance. Oh, we getting pre-approved. I'm going to get my dream home. What ends up happening? Well, a pre-approval takes time to happen. You have to submit documents. They need to run your credit. You have to and many people don't just have this information on standby, right? You have to get this to the lender, and then it still takes them time to process this information and do their due diligence. So you may get it a day later, you may get it the same day, you may get it 3 days later. It's up in the air. So you doing the, I'm getting pre-approved dance after you went and looked at this property that you fell in love with, and it goes under contract from a serious buyer who already had their stuff together before you're even pre-approved. And for me as a real estate agent, that's much worse. When I go show you a property and you want that property and you can't get it because you weren't pre-approved, and I went and showed you that property knowing that the kind of market we're in, knowing these properties are going off the market like that, that makes me look bad. And now you're going to associate me with that negative experience. Oh, he didn't tell me, or it's just psychologically I'm associated with a negative experience because you were so happy and you lost out on this property because, in my opinion, I didn't do my job. It's my job to help you get this property. And if I understand that these properties are going off the market like that and that this property will likely be gone before you get pre-approved, I have no business showing you these properties, right? So that's another thing that happens. You get all hyped when you go see this property, and then it gets scooped up while you're trying to get your documentation together. Seen it happen countless times. So this is why it's very important for you to get pre-approved. So now that I've given you that kind of backstory, here's typically what you need to get pre-approved. There are a couple different loan types. There's FHA loans, conventional loans, VA loans, right? These are just a couple of the loan types. Typically, with all of these loans, you're going to need at least a 580 credit score. With VA loans, they have a little bit different guidelines. I'm not going to go into too much details. If you do want more details, reach out to me and I can connect you with my lender. I don't like having the lender conversation because these rules and regulations and guidelines change so much that I may tell you something or say something in this video. I want you to get the best information possible. So if you are thinking about getting pre-approved and you want the most up-to-date guidelines, hit me up. It doesn't matter where you're at. You know, I do DFW area, Dallas, Fort Worth, but I have my lender. They can get you in contact with a lender in your area who can help you. Okay, so there's that. So VA loan, FHA conventional. Typically, you need around a 580 credit score. They're going to look at your debt to income ratio. This is simply how much debt you have compared to how much income you have. And they don't want to see it really going over 43%. Now, there's some wiggle room, and they can get into that with you, but that's just the general guideline. And then down payment. The lowest is typically like 3%. There are programs out there where they'll pay for part of it. They'll do this and they'll work with you. It just depends on your specific situation. But the general idea is that if you are searching for a home, get pre-approved. And when you start the process, you reach out to me or whatever real estate agent you're working with. They will connect you with the lender. They'll give you a recommendation if you don't already have a lender. And then that lender will tell you what you need to do. But there's no better feeling as a potential home buyer when you get that pre-approval and then you can go shopping. You don't want to go shopping and then get there and be like, oh, I love this house, and not be able to get it because you're not pre-approved yet, right? To me, that's like going to the grocery store. You don't have any money. You don't have your debit card with you. You don't have the Apple Pay. You don't have any cash. And you just go to the grocery store, fill up the buggy with everything you want, and then drive all the way back home to get your debit card or whatever form of payment you're using, and then drive all the way back to the grocery store. It just feels so much better when you have what you need to go shopping. So that's my spiel on getting pre-approved. I hope this video helps. Make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the content. And if you are in the DFW area and you need help with getting pre-approved, and you need help buying or selling real estate, get in contact with me. My information is in the description. I'll see you next video.